right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Election Day special for, of course, our coverage of the stock markets, cryptos, commodities, and everything else. I hope everyone in the US is having a good day. Of course, this is the big one, and we'll find out maybe tonight and during this stream who has possibly won the presidency. But today, I thought we'd start with some stats around what really happens around markets, obviously, why most people make poor decisions around these periods of time. And then, of course, we'll get into the live analysis, what's happening as we start to see the flow of the polls. Let's give a shout out who is early here this morning. We've got Chris, we've got Dennis, we've got Ash, the product detective. We've got Andy Production, Bobo Picking Bluegrass Music. And then we've also got many others joining us. TX Redman, KT, Victoria, Clace, AH, Max, Jonathan, etc. A few people coming in from some of the swing states as well. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen. All right, let's get into it straight away. I want to talk about psychology just quickly here. I know that a lot of people get bored by these subjects, but realistically, it's so important to these events as a trader and investor to be successful, to take away your emotion. And what I did recently was we had a chat here. We obviously did 2 seminars here in Australia where I talked about the US election, talked about our future predictions of the markets, etc. But more specifically, I discussed the idea of how news and narratives can really hurt the way that we, of course, perceive stuff. So we've just got someone in here saying, just voted. Congratulations. Well done. NV from Brazil here. Let's go, RJ. Very cool. And of course, I'm sure we've got plenty of people coming in from all sorts of places. Here we go. People from Ireland. Obviously, people joining us all around the world. And stocks are moving in the after hours. And of course, we'll talk about it in a moment. So the reason I want to bring this up is I did a poll of our community. I've seen similar polls around. Notice the stat here, guys. I asked, how are the November elections currently affecting your expectations for the stock market? This was taken a little while ago. And you'll notice that 50% of respondents said it's making them more cautious. Now, this is not a small subsection. I actually ended up getting about 4,000 votes, but it was the same thing. And what this was really telling us is that people are changing the way that they obviously invest. Now, if you know anything about elections, and I'm sure you guys do, it really comes down to knowing your stats. So I thought I'd just read this quote here from Peter Lynch. The trick is to not to learn to trust your gut feelings, but rather to discipline yourself to ignore them in investing and trading. Why is this? Let's have a look at the outcomes. Whether it's a Republican or a Democratic win, from the market perspective, we tend to see overall bullishness. If you want to ask the question of which is the most successful, generally it is whoever's in power. Can be maybe either or. But actually, I looked at the stat a little while ago. It seems like if it's a Republican Senate, maybe due to holding some things back, because of course there's always these discussion points, that you actually get the largest gains on the S&P 500. But again, always never lose sight of the fact. Look at this chart. Is this chart generally up? Absolutely, it is. So let's take a look at the best scenario for the markets. Of course, it's usually some form of divided kind of way forward, where we have one presidential candidate and we've got some kind of Congress control split. And you'll notice something, and I always ask this, and I asked it on the seminar days. Does anyone see the interesting stat here when it comes down to the results over the next 3 months? What is the stat that we all should be paying attention to, whether we're an investor or trader? Which one's going to be the most important? What's the stat that we should be paying attention to here, guys? Alex says, thanks, Tom, for staying up so late. Hey, it's fine by me. I'm not staying up late at all. This is my natural habitat, guys. This is 11:30 a.m. here in Australia. This is the easiest stream I'll ever do. Why? Because it's the best time. Yeah, when I stay up late, it's when I do the opens for the US. That's like 1 a.m. in the morning. much worse there. Obviously, I want to remind the chat that we are talking about stocks, markets, commodities, these types of things. So we won't be discussing any particular opinion either way here. I think we've got to keep the politics as much as we can out of it. So please don't go crazy in the chat or anything. Unfortunately, I will have to ban mad people if they go wild either side. Okay, so everyone's getting the stats here. And basically, yes, it's the 3 months. Take a look at all divided. We generally have positive gains over the next 3 months. And you should take a lot of hope in this as an investor or trader. If you've been watching our channel for the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, even 12 months, we've been discussing the idea of don't pay attention to the media. Remember, if it's in the press, it's in the price. And in today's scenario, even if we get a drop, and obviously we saw rallies thanks to literally zero DTEs, which we'll go into a minute, because as you guys may have seen, where did we close? I'll let the chat answer this and we'll highlight the comment. But yeah, overall, don't be afraid of the next 3 months. The data stats are still pretty good. Since 1945, these are the reads between Republicans and Democrats. Theoretically, Democrats with a Republican Senate has been the strongest overall gains. And that's mostly because you get that kind of stuck economy, which the Wall Street boffins can figure out what's going to happen to the future. They obviously future project it, and that ends up giving the best gains over the period of time. So, yeah, does it really matter? Well, here's the stats. Anyway, that's just one of the versions of stats, and it's important to notice. Okay, let's go into the live update. We'll obviously refresh this one here. I'm sure it is live updating, but we can see we're getting some results in here. I hope everybody can see that. We've kind of zoomed in there. So you'll notice, of course, we've got a couple of called states for the Republicans, and we've got one for the Democrats. And we've got a little bit of vote data coming in here, obviously, from Georgia. Now, as we all know, with elections, it starts off with counts that often can come from certain counties, and then it switches and it goes into the cities and stuff. So these tend to change throughout the night. I would say that this will be a hard call. Who knows? We'll see what ends up occurring. But just remember, if you're on either side, the only one I'm really looking at here that seems very likely is I think Florida is going to be locked up by the Republicans. I think the stats are just overwhelming at this stage in the counties that I looked at. Now, I'm not an expert on this, so I'm not going to say I know more than the experts do, but I did break it down, and I would say this one here is most likely going to go red. Okay. So either way, is this enough for us to really base an investment decision off? Well, kind of, yes. Now, can anyone guess why it would be enough for us to base an investment decision off? Let's see if anybody gets this here. What are your chances we don't get a BTC dip after Trump wins from Crypto Puppy? So if Trump wins, then of course we don't know who's going to win yet. But again, we may not see a dip. We did get a dip into the election. And I've already said, regardless of outcome, it's my belief that crypto is looking pretty good. We've gone through some of the stats and we've obviously seen some strong movements there. Anon says here, I don't know, but Tesla is up 5%. Yeah, so why is this important to note? Well, why I said it doesn't really matter who's winning is because we just looked at the stats. Again, the overall bullish majority is 3 months. We end up having a bullish market. So again, if you're a swing trader into position-based trader into investor, really you don't need to look at this chart too much because the stats don't lie. Yeah, that they are what they are. Let's take a look at the gamble oil markets. Obviously, it's just one that I think will update through the day. You can see here all sorts of switches up, down, and all around. So we've just seen a big move towards Trump and then Harris going down. Again, it's early days, so we'll actually end up finding out as we go through the session what ends up happening. But I expect this to be not a very good predictor of anything in particular because we've seen how much it switches around. So again, don't pay too much attention to anything in particular. All right, let's go over here to the markets. Now, they were green. They were green big. We saw Tesla up. We saw NVDA up. We obviously saw markets reacting quite positively. I would say it was down to the options. If we take a look here at the zero DTEs, in our previous video, we discussed the idea. And I know, oh, by the way, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us here. Give it a thumbs up on the stream if you enjoy our content. It does help us out, guys. So this is important. Chris says here, but seasonality, just before we go to zero TTs, but seasonality has been out the window this year. Well, yeah, you could say that. But again, remember, positive September, positive end of the year. Rare positive September. Very good stat. Remember, that's not seasonality. The problem with seasonality is when I've used it over 14 years now, it's been pretty good. It's a consistent data statistic. But if you don't have the TA coming with it, why would you actually go and trade based on seasonality alone? You'll never do that. Remember, investing is about building, or investing and trading is about building a complement story that helps to gauge what you should be doing with edge. Okay. And if you don't have edge, or you say, oh, I don't know what's going on, or this market's crazy, then don't do it. Remember the abundance mindset, guys. Who cares about the trade or investment that's in front of your eyes right now? you can always move on to another one. Come from the point of opportunity, and you'll never feel fear or greed or any of these things. So in our previous video, we discussed the idea that 5,700. So obviously we like these levels. 5,700, I'm going to mark them out, 5,620, and then of course 5,510. Okay. So we like all of these numbers in terms of supports for the market. There's no doubt 5,700 is a solid support. Why? It's a 50-day moving average. It's a great support on the charts, and it's 3 and a bit percent pullback. Now remember the September stat that we've shared before. We have a positive September in an election year in particular, and it's during the month of September, and we end up making an all-time high. We've only got about 6 or 7 other reads. 100% of the time, those reads have been positive into the end of the year. That marks with those stats that we just saw over the 3 months after the election being overall bullish across the board. Remember, you don't have to feel the fear that the media, your friends, your family, or anybody else usually puts into you when you start to understand how the market really preys on our emotions. Tony Hall coming in with a $5 donation. Much appreciated, Tony, here from Australia. Thank you very much, sir. That is awesome. Thank you, Tony, again. Mest is saying here, Messist says, ha ha ha, trick question, you dog. Yeah. Florida is no longer a swing state. It's a red Trump plus 10. Yep, I agree. Florida is clearly a non-swing state. And I think that people that were calling it swing were probably delusional in this particular election, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. So what you're going to go with whenever you're looking at these states is, of course, now you're seeing things like Texas. And Texas is obviously coming through, and people are claiming it's, blue or something like that. I think it's a joke. Yeah, it's not going to be in this particular election. You got to stick to the states. You got to stick to the states that are probably more likely to swing. BTC is running here, absolutely. And what up FX Evolution friendos says INF. Always great to see you posting here. Absolutely. Orlando says supply and demand levels align with the big money and follow the trail. React, don't predict, right, Tom? Yeah. So at the moment, we're seeing that kind of strong movement towards the upside. I want to show you the change here, though, when we look at the actual options. Yeah. So if we have a look here at the options, take a look at these changes that have come through. And I kind of held off on starting the stream because I wanted to get the new updated options levels. Look at the difference here. Look at this 58.50 in particular now becoming such a huge strike over the next 24 hours. And of course, this strike here going across to 58.50 for the 7th of November. So both of these particular ones here, guys, showing that 58.50 being strong. And again, if we look at the 15th, 58.50 also strengthening up. Look at the positive gamma that could be there as well afterwards. So that's telling you that if we do end up going bullish again, regardless of whether it's a Democratic or Republican win, I still think the market will end up being bullish, that this is very, very strong in the positive gamma side should we be able to strike past these levels. Let's take a quick update to see if we've got any new stuff. I'm sure you guys in the chat, actually, I would appreciate it if you can tell us if there's any big changes going on these charts. So, of course, here the pre-count so far, 61.39. I would say it's coming from, let's have a look here. So where have we got these counts coming in? So we've got a lot of rural counties seems to be kind of the big ones that are coming through here. And obviously we've got the beginning of the city counts, which, as you expect, these are pretty high in terms of the Dems, which they often are. I haven't got the overlay here, but what I would suggest if you want to look at the interesting data, what I would do is I would take the 2020 results. I would take these as they come in, and all I'd do is look at the percentage differences, and that will give you a bit of an enlightenment to whether it's going more Republican or it's going more Democratic. So you're obviously already seeing the splits between these. These will be where big numbers come in. And then, of course, the counties will be big as well. But you can actually see the percentage split. So let's say this one here, Trump 81%. Well, how did that end up in 2020? Was that Trump 85%? Was that Trump 75%? If it's 75%, now it's 81. That's starting once you see 2 or 3 or 4 of those early. Remember, I don't think this will be picked up in the sports bets or anything like that. That will actually help you. So it's an interesting one if you want to do a little bit of an overlay along the night, if that's the way you like to look at data. That would be something I would consider to do because it's kind of cool. I'm not going to do it here on the stream, though. We want to talk about stocks. Yes, thank you very much, Tony. Again, BTC running, DJT2. We'll look at those in a moment. How high can PLTR go? The moon, pretty much. Marky Mark's doing very well, 24% or something, wasn't it? NC leaning to the Dems. Yep, well, we'll update and see what happens there. I'm not sure. Market definitely knows Trump won. I would assume nothing. I mean, again, I think it's the general assumption that if you're getting, remember, which is actually the strongest market, it's often a hung Senate. Yeah. So just remember, I think that you don't want to make assumptions and trade off those assumptions. Instead, you just want to say, well, what's the blind stat? And the blind stat is we had 2-to-1 puts. Okay. So let's just quickly scroll around here. Here are the Trump stocks, here are the Harris stocks. We'll go over those in a moment. I want to talk about this chart. This was the one that I had to put in the last video. And it again just really reiterates that you don't want to be terrified into these events, guys. What do we all see here? Chat. We've got 1,000 of you guys coming through here. I appreciate it on Democracy Day in America. Obviously, joining us here for the stream is much, much appreciated. Give it a like if you enjoy the content as well. It does help us out. So, what is this? This is a 2.3 to 1 put to call ratio. Yeah. So, what does a 2.3 to 1 put call ratio actually tell us? Well, it tells us that we are usually at an inflection point for the markets. And never forget the put call ratio is a fairly decent read for using as a contrarian indicator. Now, because we've just seen this read and we had so many puts here, this is suggesting that markets will want to boost. And remember, that doesn't mean they can boost off either. They can boost off either a Republican or a Democratic win. I really want to get that through to people's minds because I'm sure there'll be some people very happy today or whenever we find out, and some people very sad. And that's the emotion that the market takes advantage of us at. Remember, I'm Australian. I don't have, you know, anything at stake like you guys do in America in terms of each side and how you feel. So I guess I can become more impartial to it. And generally speaking, it's easier for me to trade US elections. Why? Because I don't have too much opinion. Instead, what we can do is just go, okay, the stats are good. Overall, the puts are everywhere. And that suggests that the market will generally be in a pullback into a rally. Now, let's go to the US 500 and look at the futures. We'll also look at the close. So we'll just do the close first, and then we'll answer this question here, which is a $2 donation from Bobo Zozo. Appreciate it, man. Are my calls safe for tomorrow? Thanks, Tom. Well, that ultimately comes down to how the market wants to react to it. But for now, I think the general reaction of the last 24 hours was pretty strong. The call gap, so the gap here, seems to be what the market will go for. So I think, will you get to the gap? That seems kind of likely. Even if we do get a pullback in the next week or the next couple of days, guys, remember, I think this 56.20 is a big put wall. It's going to become stronger. And I like this level. I like this level. And I honestly don't even understand the 55.10 level. So I like this level and I like this level. And in general, we have to remain bullish. So it's kind of like, a less pullback. Remember, we expect 4.4% kind of pullback based on the stats. We got 3. We hit into the key critical levels. That's not too bad. Let's have a look at the structure of the market in the smaller timeframes over the last 24 hours. So it actually changed to the upside. And this is for day traders. So if we do end up getting a sell, I guess this is suggesting that we won't go down to 56.20. This is suggesting that if we do pull back, we should basically rally off. And you'll notice here we just hit the gap fill. So yeah, that's exactly where I would have expected the buys to kind of start to crap out. So this will be an interesting couple of minutes here as we see the markets go through. But in general, we have the lower low. We rallied up. That's very strong. It suggests that pullbacks will be met by bull demand, and that may be all we get for now. So yeah, very interesting. By the way, I've got stuff in the background, like a few different things. I just want to make sure all that stuff's not going through the stream, correct? There's no random noise coming through other than me, correct? 68% Dems in North Carolina. Well, let's go over and have a look. I mean, again, markets are up. Again, there is a certain expectation by people's perceptions about who should win and what should go up. Ignore it. Instead, focus on the price action, focus on the stats and the data. Your emotions and your bias mean nothing. Neither does mine. My opinions mean nothing. Some of my best trades, I would have gone against it based on common sense and what I believed was common sense at the time. which became clear that I was wrong afterwards. However, I was right because I went with the replication. So if you had to tell me right now, is this a strong first sign for the US 500? I'd say absolutely it is. It looks way, way better. We go over here to the the Dow. It's also pressuring that very important level we've got an alert on. So again, we've got the key zones. We knew the markets would dial into here, and I just want to show you. Take a look at this. Take a look at the Russell. Oh wow! I mean, I was already bullish on it, but whoa, 22.90. Anyone here in the Russell long? Anyone here in the Russell long? It's pricing in everything right now. Small caps going absolutely bonkers. Absolutely, it is. Call's going to print like no other, says Macest. Absolutely, it could do so. The Trump trade loves small caps, IWM. Again, I still say that regardless of outcome, you might be surprised that deregulation on banks should be going through regardless. So that's good. DJ, I'm holding 5,000 DJT from 30 average, and I sold 25%. Ooh, I want to see that stock and have a look at that one in a moment. North Carolina only has 2% of votes in, exactly, so it's too early. Is this a squeeze? Well, we know there's too many puts in the market, so why wouldn't we go against that? 58.50 being the key strike on the options. Where do we find the options data? That one is generally, I get it off a feed, but you can get it from many different sources. Generally, it's cost, no matter what source you're looking at. Thanks, Tom. Do you think the CCP will do more stimulus if Trump moves because of the tariff impact? I would say so, Tim. But again, I think there is going to be stimulus either way. I think they're waiting to see what type of bazooka they would have to throw on the market. Because really what's happening here is we've got the US market. Oh, we've got the obviously threat of tariffs, or who knows what the percentage would be if Republicans win. And then, of course, we've got the other problem is if they put a stim in now and then we end up getting a Republican win, then what's that going to do? Well, it may actually lessen the stim impact, and then they've got to go put more in. Well, that's a really bad idea. Thank you very much, Deb. Appreciate that. TLT is way on its way down. Yep. So we're seeing yields here spike 1.43, 1.54. That will be probably a post-election / FOMC trade. Again, we're looking for treasuries to accumulate. We'll go through it in a moment. Have you talked about Tesla? Not yet. I do have some data on that. Can you look at the Russell? Absolutely, we can. So let's just scroll down here and check it out. So this is a super. Who had the Russell? Who's got the Russell? Russell returning, yes. Tom Lee in the summer predicted 3,000 points in the Russell, 2,000 by the end of the year. Okay. What? Yeah, I know he did, but it doesn't really matter. Don't worry about the 3,000. That's a bit. I don't know if it's going to hit 3,000 by the end of the year, but it doesn't really matter. Who cares about the point prediction? It's more about getting the general trend right. And remember, timing is everything. Because for most people, they don't make money because they get the wrong timing. So that's going to be, pretty big. I'm long mid caps. Interesting there. And I've obviously a few people here long IDM. Problem is, it's been 3 years. Well, that's not the best if it's been 3 years, but at least it's starting to return back to giving you, bit better returns here. I would say the Russell is doing very well. Why is the XBI down? It would have to be rates. So the higher rates are usually good for the KRE sector. And the reason I had this prepped is because take a look at this. I wanted to talk about the best 5-day moves and the best kind of month moves. And what you're going to notice here, guys, look at the number one still. It's still KRE. Look at the number two, PBW. Look at the number, the financials. And of course, these sectors here have been coming through strong. Now, if we look at the last 5 days, you're going to see solar and PBW doing very nicely, but KRE again topping the charts with rotation, and that is of course 20+% of the Russell 2K. So that's strong, and this is a very strong move from the Russell. You cannot say it's a bad one. I already was thinking this was a strong chart a few weeks ago. And in our private community, we talked about the chart and how I liked it. Now, I didn't discount, don't get me wrong. I obviously said this could get wiped, but guys, give me a like for this one. Did I change this bull level, or did I leave that there and say, you know what? You know what? I like it. And I'm prepared to ride the death trail down to 2,100 just in case. Because obviously my opinion is ultimately here. I won't change that. I'll just leave it where it is. Will Bitcoin break 74K tonight? Let's go over to the crypto markets because the crypto markets, of course, are moving heavily as well. Oil down 0.34. Oil is at res. Copper obviously dropping a little bit here. Is this pricing in a Republican victory? Is that what's happening with copper down or oil moving and all sorts of things? While dollar is also down, tariffs could be, again, don't look too much at the flows. I think there are a lot of moves that were going to happen regardless of either side going through. I added more TNA today before the market closed. TNA is a triple leveraged Russell 2000 for those who don't know. I think Albert's trying to tell us here. Look at me. I've got the damn the whole three three times leveraged. Well, anyway, if it all holds up, obviously that would mean that this 0.94 move could be 3%. So you'd be very happy with yourself, I'm sure. I like that move though. That's good, guys. I mean, all of this is market structure up, regardless of fear or anything like that. That is all market structure up. This was already market structure up over the last 24 hours with that breach up here. So as soon as we saw that daily close, it was very strong, which actually seems to be where you opened, Alberca. So yeah, I agree with that. That's actually the right level, and it's rallying off that period. So yeah, I mean, it's another strong structure. So we've got US 500 small time frame gone bullish. We've got Russell 2K gone bullish. Obviously, we have Dow, which is at that res point. You could say the election, oh, the election, the election, the election. Even if it does drop now, there's going to be stronger people to now pick up through these levels. A lot of people will come in with positions, you would have to think. And if the market does dump, remember, I've always said this on the S&P, I'm still thinking that 5620 is a pretty strong support. So it's not even that many percentage points away. So the upside into the end of the year still looks better than the downside overall. All right, let's do a couple of other live stream. Oh, thank you very much. Quill Owl coming out. Always appreciate your donations. $10 Australian. Appreciate your data focused work, Tom. Thank you very much. Um, yeah, so thank you very much, Quillau. I appreciate that. And data is the key. And of course, not, being able to be a successful investor. Just ask yourself the question, the best investors in the world, do they have insane screaming at the screen type personalities, or have they got very strong temperament? Generally, they have very strong temperament. Odd dropping, which is interesting. Yep. So again, we'll look at the currencies in a moment here. And you left it broski. You left it broski. I'm not sure what that means. I left it. You mean in terms of my support line? Absolutely, we did. Thank you, Quilal, again. Cash money, 24/7. Doesn't sleep, this person. $10. Thank you very much. Thanks for the live stream. Really appreciate the daily videos, keeping us up on the right side of the markets. No worries, Cash Money. And I would say to any new viewers that are coming in or anyone that's been watching for a while, get ready for 2025, guys, because regardless of outcome here, remember the Federal Reserve and the governments, all the governments of the last kind of since 2008 have kind of stuffed the system, unfortunately, for all of us in Western democracies. And that means that we will have to be on the outlook or the outlook in terms of large volatility. There are some things that I think will happen in 2025. I'm pretty comfortable there's going to be a negative 10% correction plus at some point in 2025. I also think now that doesn't mean go and run away from the market now and be scared because this is just kind of normality. But there is also a chance that things turn really sour. They go bad sometime in 2025, whether that's the mid, whether that's the third quarter or the fourth quarter. It could also even be in 2026. I'm not discounting it. But of course, we do have some lead indicators that I use. I will update you guys on the streams and on the videos should we get them. So we'll be paying a lot of attention. Let's now jump on over to the race and see what's updating here in terms of things. We'll get out of there for a moment. So we have, is this updated? I don't know. Let's just quickly do this. So we've got 29 dem 40 reps, and the house is obviously coming in here. And we've got 23% of GA, which is 61% Trump to 38% Harris. Now, again, I always say whenever you're looking at data, you've got to consider where are the biggest counts coming in. So you can see here, we've got these with this particular state, as I understand it, it seems to be this area here and somewhere around here usually is kind of bluish. And then we've got these areas all around that get obviously counted generally first. So I do still expect this to be swinging. Now, of course, this looks very strong here for Trump initially 62.38. Wow. Yeah. 23% too of the vote. But just remember, this is sometimes deceiving. I'm no expert on it, but I can tell you that because you expect most of the Dem count out of here, it won't be through yet. I mean, 68,000. I'm sure there's a bazillion. I don't know what was the vote. Can anyone tell me what Clayton was last time in 2020? Can someone get me that stat and chuck it in the room so we can read it? And also, if you can get the percentage, I'd be interested. 85-14. That would be an interesting one. Now let's move over here. NC coming in, obviously strong. Oh, that's interesting. So this one here is getting counts from Democrats, 62. I don't know if I'd expect that straight away, but clearly these areas, these small areas over around here, don't seem to be giving us the count yet. And what is this? 84, 84 to 57 votes. That's not very many. All right. Well, anyway, we've got some more data coming through. These ones, of course, will be the big discussion points. Ultimately, it's more likely this, this, this will be probably the more interesting ones. A lot of people are questioning whether these go straight Dem. We may know because the pre-vote was quite strong. So we'll see what happens there. But this is going. These are the three. Let's be real, and maybe that one. This is going to probably go Trump. All right. Anyway, that's my opinion. It doesn't mean anything. Remember, my opinion, like your opinion, means nothing, guys. We're not going to get any value off that in replication. What we do instead, I just find it interesting. What we do instead is we look at the markets, we approach them from the data perspective, and that's how we have to do it. And I hope you guys appreciate that because I don't want to get too crazily political. So, as I mentioned before, when we have these puts, ridiculous puts, usually that's a bullish sign for markets. Markets seem to have triggered early, and this is the stat leading forward. So, in similar situations to what we just saw, what we end up getting here is we have a +1, +2, +1 month, 2 month, 3 month, and 6 month. And we have a 92% hit rate with a 7% gain over 6 months. Now, does anyone know the stat? Remember, we looked at a November to April hold on the markets, 77% of the time bullish, by the way. Okay. And again, we don't have any real negative signs in the markets. It's Goldilocks scenario. Oh, thank you, Mr. Fed. And thank you, everybody. It's all great. Everything's fantastic. Look at us. We've got the best economy and everything's so glorious. And I will actually, I don't have the chart here, but I will mention just as we're looking at these stats, did you know that you can now get a loan? I'm not kidding here, guys. If you have NVDA chips, did anyone else see that article? People are getting loans based on the fact that they own NVIDIA hardware. Wow. Anyway, 92% of the time, hit rate bullish, pretty damn bullish across the board, 6.9%, 77% buy chance over November to April at a hit rate of 7% plus. Sound familiar? Well, it should because it's pretty much the same stat. So just another one lining up. I like lining stats up because when you line them up, when you already see the price action, when everyone else is climbing, they're all freaking out and saying, oh, Trump victory or oh, Democrat victory or whatever, it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, we know the stats and we know the price action. And this is what I would say separates success from failure. Does anyone else agree with that in the chat? Thank you for also giving us some likes and thumbs up to the stream. Much appreciated. Christopher says, haha, right with you, brother. Thank you very much, Christopher. Appreciate it. And thank you again, Cash Money 24/7. I'm just salty. I transferred my money from Tesla into S&P 500 after the robo taxi event. I should have lived by my rule. Don't do nothing. Xavier. Yeah, well, they're different risks. Yeah. So you transferred after the robo taxi events. Oh, well, that's okay. Look, you can look at it one way. You can say, this sucks. I don't like life. This sucks so bad. Or you could say, let's learn from that And instead, if I'm going to buy into an event or I'm going to sell straight after the freak out, I need to just have a look at what was the perception and what did the market do into that event. So obviously into that event, everyone was loving it. Buy the rumor, sell the fact. And then we saw a large dark pool transaction. So hopefully that's good. Joe Farmer says, I have a Russell five. I have Russells, but only a small part of my portfolio, 5,000 euros. Hey, better to be better than not. So that's cool. Bought TNA a week ago based on a YouTuber I like. Humble Hiker says, thank you, Humble. Good luck. You obviously made your own decisions. Yeah. What else did Zavi say here? This is obviously, it could go up and it could go down. Yeah. Polls closing in 16 states in a minute now. So that would be a few minutes ago. All right. So Michigan numbers will be strong blue, in my opinion. Yeah, some of the pre-stats said that. Chuckleberry, $20. Again, it may not come down to that, though. It's probably going to be those other three. Also, yeah, Chuckleberry, $20. Thank you for the very kind and generous donation, man. What are the best long opportunities right now from these levels, including crypto miners, stocks, IWM, KRE, SoFi, PayPal, China, etc.? Wow, what a question, hey? All right, so let's go over to the charts. Russell, love and life. I think crypto crap is pretty good, and I do love calling it crypto crap. I don't know. Look, I've been involved in Bitcoin since like 2011 when I made it with my computer. So can I call it crypto crap? Look, if I was making crypto Bitcoins for $5 on my computer, I'm allowed to do that. So I'm going to call it crypto crap. That doesn't mean I don't like it, and I'm not a maximalist for Bitcoin. I just think that it's sometimes funny, and I like having fun with it. So Bitcoin is very strong off the current levels. Of course, you've got to like what you see. Largest trade volume level. We almost nailed that. Of course, you've got the downward trend line. You've got to love this TA level. Now, of course, I did talk about this being a possible outlier, maybe a dem win or something. It freaks out and goes down to here. It's still possible. It could go blur like this, but the stats are good, man. Now, I would say you make your own decisions. I'm not going to, I'm just telling you what I see technically. Technically, it's a large trade volume area. It's a big switch to the upside. We've seen flows obviously going up. And while we've usually seen flows going up and then it goes, as soon as they maximize, it goes down. Remember, this is in a TA breakout. That's very different to an already existing TA run. This is in a technical analysis breakout. And that's such an important factor here to pay attention to. Let's just quickly scroll over and see what we've got in terms of updates here, because I know a lot of updates are coming in. So Florida got called. There we go. So we knew that already. And that's an early call, isn't it, for what used to be a swing state? But there we go. So we have here Oklahoma, Mississippi. We've got Alabama, which are all normal, I guess. Tennessee, Kentucky. Again, I don't know what these votes are compared to normal. We've got here South Carolina. GA, Georgia is coming in 56% for Trump. Now, again, I don't know with 36%. Let's have a look where it's coming in from. So did someone do the stat on this before? The real key is obviously here in these little areas, because we know there's a lot of votes in there. We just don't know when we get them counted. But look, it seems to be coming through. So we're going to get some information soon. And then we've got PA coming in. Oh, okay. So just the main cities, is that right? Or we've got this one here. That's always expected to be, I guess, from my understanding, it's like here, maybe more Republican or something, and then you've got the cities. I don't know. But my limited Australian knowledge, yeah. But again, that's where we're at. And Ohio, I would expect that. Do I expect that? I don't know if I expect that. I don't think I expect that. Okay, that's interesting. I'm probably wrong there on this. So yeah, it's all happening, guys. What have we got? America, 95 Trump, 35 Harris, and there we are. So some updates. Texas coming in. Whoa, was that close? Can someone tell me in the chat? Is that close? 51-48? Chuckleberry, we will answer your question in a moment. Clayton County, Georgia election resulted from 2020 for President Biden. Thank you. This is what I wanted to put up here. I'll get back to you in a second, Chuckleberry. So let's go here. So Clayton. Was that the one I was on? Okay. So it's exactly the same. Ah. You know, I'm a data person, so I have to look at the data. Okay. So it's exactly the same. Hmm. So this is actually close. I mean, obviously, I haven't checked the others, but that's spot on. Wow. I don't know if that's close. That seems weird. Oh, not much info, maybe? I don't know. No, we don't have. Look how many there are. When I looked at this as an Australian, I said, "Whoa, little blocks everywhere. Look at all these places." One day I'll drive around here. I wanna go actually, I'm gonna drive around the whole of America. I feel like doing it. It's gonna be good, guys. Alright, so let's have a look at the Poly Mega, and then we'll go back to the market. What is it doing? It's flipping all over the place. So it's going stronger for Trump at the moment. Whoa! Did it just go crazy? It went 70%? Wow. 70%? Is this what the hell? Okay. All right, we'll see what happens there. Let's answer the question from Chuckleberry. Thank you again to Adam for getting the data stats for us. I want to see if they were the same. So yeah, I like Bitcoin. I think crypto looks pretty solid. Why? Because again, we've got similar systems to what we saw on the S&P 500, which is an initial bullish action that looks like even if there are pullbacks now, which could of course happen, that overall it's bullish. So things really changed around here when we saw that higher high. I'm a big fan of crypto at the moment. Bitcoin is looking obviously quite strong. Let's have a quick look at the others. Ethereum also breaking to the upside right now. So that's actually happening now. It's behind, of course, Bitcoin because of its getting thrashed on. And I assume Solana must be also there. Let's have a look at Solana because really Solana should be behind. But yeah, so Solana did it same time as Bitcoin. So around that two. So these are all fairly close to current price, and they are boosting. Look at them go. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. We're putting the rocket ship in, guys. Wowzers. US dollar still dropping. Okay. That's interesting. What is this doing? Now, I am, look, I'm short on the dollar at the moment up here. It's a good technical setup. However, I'm not sure whether, what this is exactly pricing in particularly. So, hmm, the key here was, I believe, if you looked at the euro and you check this out, look at that. The euro, wait a second. So the dollars, is that dollar dead? The dollar index? Okay, so it's back down to the support. So this is actually starting to price in potential Trump because this is where you want to see support. So again, at this present time, although it's getting dived on, this actually might break even me if that's true on the futures market. So this is exactly where I start to think about it being support. So it needs to kind of find buyers here. We'll watch this throughout the stream. I'm very interested to see how this euro plays. This euro will be interesting. What are the other questions there? What do I think about China and stuff? Well, let's have a look at the Chinese stock market. It's actually market closed at the moment. Technically, if you get a Trump victory, you would have to think it's going to be like this. So down, freak out, and then you would say stim package. They may need a more aggressive stim package as well. Remember, it's estimated between 6 and 10 trillion yuan. So I like cryptos. I think they look pretty good. A few people basically mentioned before, what does coin look like? Looks great, actually. Very nice setup there over the last 24 hours. Very nice rally. Like that a lot. Like that off my level. Like that in general with the larger transactions coming into it. Yeah, I mean, it's again usually my replication towards the long side. There are problems in this gap fill zone at about 211. But generally speaking, I would say it's more bullish on the charts. And that's kind of the theory of so far what we're seeing here today. And I think regardless of outcome, the market is pretty smart. So it will make its own decisions. Thank you to the many, many people that are coming out here today and giving a like and thumbs up. We'll close the poll. I appreciate those likes, guys. What's this goal thing? Uh, All right, so Chuckleberry, what do you think about IWM? We've gone through that. We think it's pretty good and pretty strong at the moment. SoFi and PayPal, etc. Well, SoFi's already been quite strong, and it kind of already has rallied past my initial trajectory. If you look at it, it's been in a large accumulation for a while, and my expectations obviously around this for it because I've already got that up. PayPal, I'm not particularly trading that anymore, but it's kind of in the middle of nowhere land. I'd be looking for it into the 90s theoretically, but I don't think it's that strong. Yeah, I don't think it's that strong indeed. All right, let's go over, have a quick look at the update and see what's coming through here. So we're starting to get it. Now, I was interested to know what you guys say about crypto's pumping. Absolutely. Tom, are you in the States or down under? I'm down under. It's easy time frame for me. It's not late like you guys in the States. What is it, like 8, 9 o'clock in the Eastern States at the moment? What site is this? This is New York Times. I'm just using New York Times. Because I kind of like the being able to like click in here and look at all the little things. So all we know so far, because I didn't do the cross, is that this is exactly what it was in 2020. So that's only one I checked because it was only one of the main ones. PA coming in 76.23. That would be expected initially. Obviously, these are all very interesting stats, but this is what I feel like that's wild. Only 11% for Texas. Okay, maybe it's only in the main city or something. Trump is 95 already. That's to be expected, though, in terms of early, isn't it? So if we go up here, 95-35. Look, I've watched only 3 or 4 US elections and traded them, but in general, I'm just bullish. I'm always bullish into the US election. Any dip is usually good dip. Market go down equals good. Australian Legend said here, this is the election coverage we needed. No worries, man. We're just kind of going hopefully in the middle and just obviously looking at the investments more than anything else. Can you please comment on bond yields spiking and where you see this going? Yep, we can. Coming in from X here as well. Thank you very much for watching us over on X. Look, the bond yield or the actual yield movements have been going up here a little bit. If we look at today's spikes, we're looking at 1.63 and 1.82%. I always just go to it and say, is this outlandish in terms of, I think it's putting pressure on a lot of people that are on certain bond trades. So if there's a lot of pressure, I haven't seen this much interest in yields for a while. So we obviously got interest in yields and we're getting another interest in yields. Now, when enough people are asking me the question and people are starting to feel it, usually there's a few wipeouts, if that makes sense. Markets will kind of push to an extreme because remember, markets will do whatever they can to make you or me look as stupid as possible, generally make us look as dumb as possible because they push our very fabrics of psychology and they push us too far. So would I say this is a blowout in yields and it's all going to wild? No. Would I say this is just coming back into line with the Federal Reserve's dot plot? Personally, yes, I would. Now, I think I have a chart for it. Let me see if I can bring it up. Where is my Discord? One of our members makes me a little chart, so we'll give them a shout out. Okay, here we go. We'll see if we can open this. All right, I've got it over here. So let me just bring this over. So what you'll notice is these are the changes in yields. Now, I know it's not completely up to date, but what you may notice here is the 1st of November. Here is the 31st of the 10th, obviously, underneath. And then we've got some going back here. Now, what we may see is that it's just coming back in line with a normal cutting cycle. Yeah. And this was too low, and this is too high, and this is where you kind of got to be. So I would say this is just normal, and it's showing a Goldilocks scenario. Okay. Goldilocks, which means very good. And that's why the market is overall very strong, regardless, of course, of the US outcome here in the election. We have to believe that the underlying is actually relatively strong. You might say, but Tom, the economy sucks, everything sucks. Sure, but at least the numbers that we have, I'm not on the ground. I would say US's inflation was absolutely psycho, in my opinion, because I was in Vegas last year and I bought the water. Well, I didn't want to buy the water, but it was 14 US dollars for a little water. That's crazy. Crazy. But I know that's Vegas. But even in Miami, things were expensive. I was surprised. I was surprised being an Australian. It was fine for me, but not fine for, I guess, the normal person, of course. US 10-year, again, am I freaked out about it? No. Where do I think the trajectory is? I think it's coming to an inflection point. but I do not predict it turns here. Remember, our thoughts are at this stage that we like treasuries. Okay. I know everyone else hates them. I like treasuries, but I need treasuries to show me something. And what are we going to be looking for, guys? Someone in the chat. What are you guys looking for? Texas is always Republican. It is. I thought that Florida would be strong Republican this time round, but I'm surprised to see Texas that close. But it could be just the city that is already Democratic coming through. I don't know the stats. Hello, everyone. Hope all is well. We're really great here. David says 3 months bull. Generally, the stat is good. Braden says for water. Yes, I will be honest. I cracked the shits. it's, and I walked the strip and found a little supermarket and then bought 10 waters for less than that because I'm not paying no $14 for water. I don't care where it is. No, not doing it, guys. Yeah, I know. I just thought it was so funny. uh, you can't drink the hotel water, you go broke. That is correct. Tom is not a normal person, probably not. Dark pool buys, that's correct. We're looking for dark pool buys on treasuries. So remember, our opinion here matters not really that much. Instead, we're looking for a trap, Nikki. And once we see the trap, then we will instigate the plan. That is usually the way it goes here. Ohio winner has been the president every year since 1976, except for 2020. Pennsylvania has peaked the winner since 2008. There we go. Some interesting stats from Dr. Horton coming through. Um, unless you're dying in thirst in the desert, yes, then I will buy the $14 water. First county in Texas is usually Democratic. There we go. So we've got Angie coming in with some stats there. Thank you very much. Um, BTC forming a tweezer on 1 hour. Bob the Builder says Tom is not a normal guy. That's probably true. I guess so. In terms of the way I look at data, maybe I like it more than probably most people do. But I'll tell you what, when I go fishing, I become a bogan. I'm fishing bogan. Um, of course, I don't litter though. Chuckleberry says 20 bucks. What is your favorite crypto stock from the current levels? Oh, I hate them all. Thank you very much for the $20 donation though. Oh, chat, you tell me what the favorite crypto stock is. You know I hate. Oh, coin, because the others are all like weird mining things. MSTR, Coin, Wolf, Iron, Hut, Riot. I'll let the chat decide on this one. MSTR, bro, easy. Well, I guess it is basically just Bitcoin, so at least you kind of get that. Tom, can you please elaborate on what you mean by trap? Generally, a trap would be it pushes above a higher high or a lower low that you don't expect. And then that kind of makes people freak out. And I can tell you people are starting to freak out in treasuries. All right, let's check the poly mega because I think this is pretty funny how it's moving. Because I think it's way too early to state anything yet. Especially, oh, this is dead. Polymet. Whoa, it's got even more. So now we're sitting at 70% on the Polymega mark. I feel like someone chucked into Bitcoin. What do we got down here? Okay, I don't want to read those comments. There's probably something dangerous in there. All right, so let's go over here. We have 95.35 currently called. We've got 55.44 for GA, obviously, and we've got this is okay. There we go. There we go. So that's the county change. See how things can change all of a sudden. So this obviously was the Republican one. Not that I knew that, but anyway. And then all of a sudden you get those other areas coming through. There we go. So Texas, not close at all. Well, doesn't look like it's close at all anyway. 40, 53, 45, likely going Republican. No real surprise. So we had that stat before from Dr. Horton claiming that this is the decider, except for 2020, back quite a long time ago. And obviously, PA, Michigan, Wisconsin, these will be the probably clinchers. And we've got NC as well and Georgia still. And this looks kind of wild, but I have a feeling there's this will be where we see stuff. Remember, that's the only data stat I looked at, but these are the question. Okay. So anyway, nothing has changed really in terms of other than the calls that are going to go through and people that thought Florida was going to the Dems were very wrong. 56-43. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. All right. The chat seems to like coin as well and MSTR. Hood is good for meme coins, and Mara also getting a bit of love. Hood looking like it's stuck at Hut looking like it's stuck at resistance. All right, let's have a look at a few of these. So MSTR, the problem is it's obviously already boomed and then pulled back a bit. I'm not sure if this is trading over Bitcoin price, but that is what it is. I think from the TA side, coin has the best technical analysis. As I said, this is the type of setup I use. It's actually from our day trading masterclass, and I would usually use the same kind of one. Yeah. Tom, did you see Tesla jump over 265? I didn't. Let's go look at that. I didn't. I must admit, I was too busy looking at weird data. So this went to 265. Is this serious? Let's have a look. Tesla stock after hours price 259. But you are right at one point. Oh no, what is this? 264. Yeah. Okay. So obviously above 260. I kind of laughed at people with the calls there. I still think they're going to lose because they paid too much premium. But let's have a look here at the net on this. I'm going to load it up. So slash net for Tesla. Okay, so 260 is still the core wall this week. So if it does get above 260 and holds, this could be quite strong because you can see here the calls through to the 15th of November. So there we go. So there's the calls, there's the big stuff. Yeah, some interesting stuff. And certainly a huge strike. So if you want to be paying attention to Tesla this week, 260 could be an interesting point. We did see, of course, the bullishness of the island reversal the other day. And then you've actually got a miniature island reversal here over the last 24 hours. A lot of bull action came in over the last 24 hours. We got Russell 2K switching. We've got US500 switching. We've got Bitcoin switching. We've obviously seen the dollar kind of switch to the downside, but then I guess this futures market is closed now. No, it's still open. I don't know what's going on there with the euro versus the dollar. I guess it's not bad for wait, that's not the dollar. There it is. It's open. There we go. So it's back at the res. So here it is. That's exactly the res. There we go. So it's open again. Yeah, that's exactly where I would think the shorters try to come through. Obviously, a higher high, kind of suggesting that there is a Republican victory at that point because, of course, the tariff concern. But I'm not. I just look at price action. Why would we even pay attention to the rest? I got Aussie guys on, Tom here and Jason. Cool. Thank you very much. And how long are you going to do this? I'll probably do it for another hour or two so we can see some markets come through. We'll see what we've got coming in. Futures flirting with 58.50 level. Correct, Christopher. We know that is the key level here. What's the probability of SPX going to 56.20 by Friday? Really depends on whether you hold above 58.50. Oh, by 56.20. Well, obviously lessening because the price action looks really good on the small time frames towards the long here. Bob the Builder, $5. Love the channel. Bought a gold chain for $3,200 when you were saying gold price was going to 3,000. Now it's worth 4,300. Congrats, Bob the Builder. Do you like your gold chain? You get the best of both worlds. Number one, you made money, and number two, you get to wear a gold chain. There you go. Very cool. Well done, Bob. Thank you very much for your generous donation. Right now, I would say, unfortunately, zero max. Not sure what that means. I'm thinking to invest about 140K on Perla. Okay. I'm thinking about IVV 50%. Do you think that's a good investment? I'm not going to tell you whether it's a good investment or not. You've got to make your own decisions. Remember, I cannot tell you what to do. I can only tell you what I see. Crypto mover, according to Barbaro, says riot. So if you see good technicals, you believe they're replicable, then of course that's the key levels there. Bob says, girls love me for my money. Is that your bling? Do you have a grill? Truly Messiah says, this is great, all on live, and you guys are like news commentators. Yeah, well, we're obviously just trying to cover the US election from hopefully the point of view of the market. Max is a name. That was my answer to the guy asking around 56.20 on SPX. There we go. Time to sell FX Evolution gold chains. I should have done that and put some FX Evolution bars. Doesn't Donald Trump sell bars with his head on them or something? Or coins? There we go. Need to ice out the chain now. Oh, yeah, put the ice in it. Don't ice your watches, yeah? If anyone ices watches, that is a terrible idea. It's killing your value. All right, so the dollar index came straight back up to res. Theoretically, this is where, again, we saw the euro before live. That's where the buyers should have come back in. And of course, this is where the sellers on the dollar should come back in if they're going to. This is the level that the buyers must hold. But wow, what a dump there. Let's check the polymega market, polymega, poly markets. And if these do these refresh live? I don't know. Okay. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. They're changing here. Look at this. This could be, and we'll see how this ends up playing out. This may be one of the most interesting rando stories of 2024. If the like, let's just say, okay, I don't know this, but let's just say this thing flicks the other way in the end, then that will prove that this is the most dodged thing. So we'll see what ends up happening. But at the moment, it is incredibly strong for Trump. Obviously, 68.32, which is down about 10, I think, from before. Let's scroll up. We have 95.35. I'm assuming that's refreshed. It is. And no new calls. We have now 50% of GA. Are we going to get it all in? This is going to go to, I'm interested in the Senate. Whoa. Wow. Is that mean can I say, can I call him Cancun Cruz? That's the only guy I know from Australia. I just know he disappeared and ran off to Cancun. Is that true, guys? Can I say that politically, that Cancun Cruz? So we'll see what happens with this one. I think, am I right in thinking that he's the most hated senator in America? Am I right in thinking that, or am I wrong? The Cancun Cruise. Still waiting for my FX shirt. You're my liquidity. Yeah, I'll do it next week. That's not true. That's not true, or is it fact? Okay, he's not the most hated. All right. Okay. Well, anyway, that's a close race. You can see here 49-1, 49-1. I'm wrong. Okay. I just heard it. I thought it was funny. All right, 49-1, 49-1. So that's very close. So we're going to see who actually plays out here. Texans, we love him. Okay, there you go. See, it's why the media can sometimes misinterpret the way you think. So this is close, though. You can clearly see. Not that I know where it's meant to come from. So we'll find out then. All right, let's scroll up 95.35, and we know we'll go back to the presidential race. But that's probably the closest one, I would say, in terms of the Senate. For the sake of global markets, let's hope that to God that Trump does not win, says Paul. Well, again, we looked over the stats, 3 months positive, regardless of outcome here. So there you go. Nancy and Mitch are the most hated, in my opinion. So that's Nancy Pelosi, one of the greatest traders of all time, and Mitch. I don't know who that is, Mitch McConnell or something. I don't know. Somebody. All right, let's go away from that and go back to these markets. So we basically have here pretty strong action in terms of this key level for the dollar. Euro obviously falling down. I would assume the Aussie has also fallen to these levels, which is a massive inflection point. Again, what it looks like today is that crypto and markets are buying up. And if that is true and this keeps dumping underneath, remember that is kind of starting to go towards Trump victory, because that's saying the tariff play might be in play. So, or at least the tariff threat, whether that goes through or not, who knows. So this is a very important point. The Aussie, the euro, and the dollar, all at actually critical zones. And I would say that I always kind of suspected the dollar might be the most interesting component of the day. Remember, we started talking about it all of a sudden about 2 days ago. The main reason is because it's that critical zone. So we've got Tesla. Just to recap, we've got the markets coming off 5,700. Again, we see good structure on the S&P up. We see good structure on the Russell up. We see good structure on Bitcoin up. We see pretty interesting stuff going on here with the dollar. Obviously, Tesla 260 will be the strike you want to see held above to possibly get positive gamma back in play. And oil is at res. So that's the big stuff that's happening here. Let's have a look at a couple of other cryptos because those cryptos were looking pretty tasty. Let's go over to the US Litecoin here. And a lot of people always want me to do Litecoin versus ETH and stuff. That's cool for ratio, but I still deal in dollars. We like dollars over anything else. Dollars. Tom, what do you add? You think what's the odds you think we dump the S&P 500 tomorrow? Even if we fall on the S&P 500 tomorrow, I think the general structure looks pretty good on the small time frames. So my kind of thought process here is is a pullback to like something like the 61.8 fib, yeah. So 61.8 fib from whatever it is would be kind of the pullback I would expect. Tom, have you signed up for Nancy Pelosi's stock trading lessons? Well, I think it would be basically just a phone call saying, Nancy, we're going to vote on this. And then all the other people in there. I mean, they're all good. You know, Nancy's not even the best trader. There's actually better ones. I signed up for that guy that made 250% last year. That's the one I would be looking at. Here's Litecoin. You can see, obviously, a bit of a pullback. Generally speaking, not as strong as the other coins. And that's to be expected. At the moment, it goes, remember this, BTC first, Solana is now the second, the ETH is probably the third. This usually is the first run. The others do break out, but as you can see, if Bitcoin solidifies an all-time high, eventually Litecoin and other coins will all improve. The problem is timing. So you'll generally get that big Bitcoin move, maybe a couple of other solid coins move, and then the rest come with it. Is this pretty good structure? Not yet. Hasn't broken through to a higher high at this stage, yeah? Uh, do you think Intel will do well in 6 months once Gov flows and tariffs limit Taiwan chips? I think Intel could do well. It was actually on the Harris list win before that we looked at, getting government support. But I think overall the price action looks pretty strong. So price action obviously looking quite decent. Ultimately, I'd like to see Intel get back up here. I know it got kicked from the Dow. I know it's crap. This is not a quality stock, but you've got big volumes with probably funds switching in and out, and you've got a generally good TA structure. So even if it gets down to these low points down here, which is like $21, then it still should be towards the bullish side. Tom, what do you think of Trump media? Let's have a look at DJT. I'll look at the after hours as well. So this will be probably the most volatile on the actual day itself. So after hours, it went up 10%. So you can't just look at what you've got here. So we lost 1.16% after jumping up to $41. Then we dropped all the way down into what is this? The low of 31. Then we ended up after hours at 37. So if this was still open, which I guess it still is, yeah, in after hours, or is that closed now? After hours is closed. So we'd probably be higher at this stage because, of course, when we looked at the poly market, it's quite strong towards Trump at the moment. That's going to, really run this. But this will be, in my opinion, still a plus or minus 30 to 40% in a day. Yeah, it's going to be a big day for it. Big day. And of course, if Trump does lose for whatever reason, it's going to get crushed. It'll get crushed. So it's going to be a very volatile trade. It's not the one that I would usually chase. Tom, do you think Trump is good, bad, or indifferent for big tech? I'd probably say, I mean, big tech obviously, well, are generally good, I guess, because of it depends. Does he win both? If he sweeps, then I guess you would say good because he would cut callbacks. Yeah, I don't really look. It's speculation. What's the point? We already are bullish, so it's really irrelevant. The key here is not to think about the candidate. not even to think about all of these supposed things they're going into the election with. Because let's be real, and I'll just be real with you guys. There's thing called election. What do they always say? Election promises die the day of the election, the day after the election. Yeah. Is that right? I think we can all agree with that. Also, they just don't get passed. So, whatever 50 or 60% of whatever they say, definitely not going to get passed. So, in general, don't pay attention to the narratives. Remember, I always say if it's in the press, it's in the price. Generally speaking, you just need to look at the data stats and the price action. Take the emotion out of this stuff, guys, if you can. It's hard for an American to do that because you've got a lot at stake either way. But for an Australian, the way I'd look at it is just data. Tom, can you give your thoughts on the coffee chain Dutch Bros? With Starbucks having issues and Dutch Bros beating earnings, I'm thinking about playing it for tomorrow's earnings. Well, let's ask the chat here. Is Dutch Bros, which I've never drunk, any good? Let's see what the chat has to say. Is it better than Starbucks? What do you think? Tom, do you see any similarities between this election cycle and 2000? Interest was at similar levels, tech bubbles, and we had our first rate cut around election. We had very negative year next year. Albert, I don't see exact similarities with the tech an election just yet, but I agree we're on a timer. So my general thought process is remember we had uninversion of yield curves, very important. We obviously had a significant turn in terms of the way that the market has been acting around interest rates. The Fed has obviously done the 50 basis point cut. I would say 2025 will have a 10% pullback in it. Now the question is what happens in the second half of 2025? Is that going to get bad? I would be quite worried for 26 in particular. So, do I see similarities? My current closest similarity is the 1960s. I've never had the Bros, but I do own the stock. Dutch Bros currently is really only local to the Pacific Northwest of the USA. Very popular in the US West, super low overheads. 7-Eleven coffee is better than Starbucks. Yeah. These are small parking lot drive-through coffee booths. Okay. Bros is good, but it's like $14 for some coffees. Jeez, that sucks. $14 for some coffees. You pay way too much for coffee in America, by the way. Cheap here in Australia in comparison. What do I think of the TA? The TA is what matters, and in general, the base formation has been okay for a while. It doesn't really excite me. It's not like I'm not loving this right hand side. I don't mind it around here, the way it island reversed up and then obviously found strength. But in general, I wouldn't call this like I'd say it's bullish, but I wouldn't add positions or do anything. So not much insight there. Sometimes you got edge, sometimes you don't. I want to kind of talk about SMCI for a moment because SMCI obviously is a fairly trash stock, but it almost put in a buy today from a replication standpoint. So you can see here we've got a lot formed after getting crushed. This is not an investment, by the way. It's trash. But of course, is it oversold? Most likely, yes. Have we seen signs of a turn yet? No. But we will follow around this area over the next couple of sessions. What are your thoughts on PLTR? Big earnings beat. Well, it's obviously very strong. I said it for a while. I'm not going against this stock. That's for sure. Just looking for pullbacks. And so far, it hasn't actually had a brutal sell-off. Like 9% is not really anything to worry about. Very strong close, ultimately. This is meant to be, if I'm not wrong, on the Trump side of stocks. So it's doing very nicely. And congrats if you're on it. I got no real problems with PLTR. I would say that's a large move, but that's pretty much it. Looking at China overnight at all, we did look at China before. So obviously we looked at HSI and the market is open down 1.31. Again, if we see Republican victory, could do this. Am I still bullish on it? Yes, because I believe there's a massive stim package after the election. Probably take a little while though. It may even load through to the Chinese New Year. So, like anything with China stocks, this is a fight between the market and a fight between guess what? It's a fight between, of course, the CCP or the PBOC. China dipping a little bit, yes. Tom, some early voting states don't start processing until the day of the election. It was half the vote. That's right. So let's refresh here and go back over and see what's going on. So I think this is to be expected. This is almost incredibly likely to be won by the Republicans. So that's done probably. This one, I don't know what's going on. This one here, uh, I don't know. I guess that's, I don't know. Let's have a look. Okay. Again, I'd need to look at the percentages, but it seems like the Trump is ahead right now, I think. PA, obviously that's early, and Michigan, that's early, and Wisconsin, we don't know. So it seems like for the Dems right now, the best chance they've got is up here, and obviously Trump is just trying to nail these ones and ultimately tip one of these, I guess. So yeah, things are closing, guys, and pretty much it's going the way that most people thought. This one's going the way it thought. These ones, question mark for now, maybe going the way that people think. And yeah, these are the most important. And we saw from Horton before, the most interesting stat was other than 2020, this often made was the picker of the elections other than 2020. Okay, we'll see. I have PLTR at $11 a share. Well done. That's very good. 7-Eleven is all about price. Absolutely. Also, Tom, I want to thank you for your effort you put into your YouTube videos. My dad watch you every night. Appreciate that fruit salad. And I actually was able to buy an Integra Type S in cash. Good work in cash with the winnings with the edge profits by learning from you. Well, I appreciate that and very cool. Enjoy your car. Can we get a picture? I want to see this Integra Type S. Look, a lot of people, I've got to say it, overwhelmingly, when we did our Sydney and Melbourne seminars, it was really great to see people doing well. People that have watched the channel having some success, and obviously finding, a lot of people obviously on the gold, and a lot of people on utilities and semiconductors and stuff. So really great to see. I've got my money from Elon's American Pack today. What you get paid from Elon? I didn't even know how that happens. But fruit salad, very cool. Glenn says here, uh, can one open an account on Tiger if you're in the US? Yeah, I think it's called something else, but it is in one of our links for the Tiger stuff. It's not the same software though. The Australian software is the one I usually focus on because it's pretty good. Thanks, Tom, for being here on the US election night. No worries, guys. Thank you very much for spending your time here on a very important election for all of you in the US. Absolutely. Oh my god. You guys are trolls. Can anyone Oh jeez. Oh my goodness. I see the troll. It's pretty ridiculous. London Farino said, "You making money, bro?" Well, I'll ask you this question. Are you looking at the stats for the next 3 months? Because if you thought about what I've been talking and rabbiting on about for a little while here, um, I'll just show you the troll. Okay, it's not political. I just want to show you the troll. Look at this. Jesus. Um, are you making money? Well, again, the stats are obviously towards the bull end. This is the best and most bearable election coverage. Well, I appreciate that. Trying to stick in the middle here as much as we can. Let's give an update, by the way, for the election so far. 101 Trump, Harris now at 71, according to the stats. Obviously, we've got toss ups here, according to this paper anyway, which is NC, PA, and Michigan. And this stat you can't use yet, okay? Because, of course, that's probably early vote. So we won't be able to use that. So again, wherever you look at it at the moment, This is interesting. So electoral college estimate, and chance is going 278, Trump 260. But I don't even know what the hell the needle is, but the needle, does that make sense to me? Let's just stick with the facts. Eh? Is it raining in any swing states? I did hear that it was going to be raining. Maybe some people in the chat can let you know. There are people here from some of the swing states: Michigan, Georgia, North Carolina, PA. Was it raining in any of those today, guys? Let us know. Always that does affect. I actually heard, get this, I love data, guys. 1%, wait, no, sorry. For every 10 millimeters of rain, you'll lose 1% of the vote. I think that's right. Maybe it was one. No, I think it was 10. Raining in Michigan. There you go. Sunny in Georgia, dry in Michigan. Okay, it depends where obviously you are, I guess, then, because some people are saying raining. Pro tip: if you like ETH, then buy ETHU, which is leverage. It's really cheap. Whenever you're looking at these, just make sure to check the fact sheets. Yeah, whenever you're doing that. Raining in GA. Okay, so again, just depends where you are. You got to talk in inches. I can't do it. I don't know. What's that in inches, bro? I don't know, guys. We we use metric. I don't know your American systems, feets and pounds. Whenever someone says to me, "I've got this like whatever, I don't know, 5 pound fish," I'm like, "What the hell is that?" Speak in kilograms to me, guys. Speak in kilograms. I want to know what it is in kgs. You- You're confused by me, and I'm confused by you. That's the Australian way. Hasn't rained in PA for about a month. Ooh. Seems dry. All right. So what have we got going on here? We've got the dollar being bullish and sitting at resistance. So I'd say no outcomes here yet. We've got nice moves on the crypto this morning. We've got strong moves on the US 500. Obviously, it's in the gap fill resistance. So for day traders that were long off 5,700, you would be licking your chops and loving it. If I had to guess, I would say something like this is the more likely scenario at this stage. Maybe a bit of a drop after we know the outcome. I don't know if we're going to get 56.20 anymore. It doesn't seem likely based on the price action of both this, the Russell, and some of the other markets. Not impossible, but seems less likely. Bring back the British Empire for $2. Thank you very much for the $2 donation. Appreciate that. I don't think everyone would want that one back. But no, I don't think Britain's economy will bring back the British Empire. I think people in the UK would agree with that. I keep listening to Tom. My GT40 or Pantera is getting closer. Ah, Pantera or GT40. Which one do you think he should buy, guys? The GT40 or a Pantera? I'm going to go with the GT40 because it looks cool. What does a Pantera look like? I actually don't know. Pantera car. Uh, ugh. Oh, I don't know about this, guys. Do we like this Pantera? Oh, okay, I don't know about that one. Now that looks sexier. Can we get it? It's this car here. That's the one we want. Neither is something you'd want to drive. Just look at it. I used to have this client guy, and he had a. I don't know if Americans do this, but it was the most weird house. It was like a button you'd press, and his car would come up through the floor and then sit in like a giant viewing room. I was like, that is so ridiculous. He's like, I like it. I'm like, oh my goodness. Well, I guess at least you're getting value out of your car. He just put his car in like a big viewing room. He presses a button, it comes out of the garage. Ridiculous. How long will you be streaming for? I think we'll stream into maybe as we get closer towards these massive swing states. So we're just going to look. I mean, at the moment, obviously, we know what the price action's doing. We're kind of looking towards that crypto. I just want to see if anything switches across. I'd say that if I'm looking at this, um, this looks exactly the same as before. So really, I think GA is probably slipping from the Dems at this point, based on the fact that we've got 65%. Starting to kind of get a little closer, but this is going to be tight. If the Dems squeak that out, be surprising. NC, don't know. And then obviously PA is, well, we're going to start seeing this really start to play out now. So if I had to guess, and this is a guess, guys, so don't kill the messenger, I would guess this for the Dems, this for the Dems, this one question mark, this for the Republicans, this one for you now, and obviously we have that for the Republicans. But am I an expert? Does it matter? No, I'm not an expert. I'm just making guesses. 101 to 71 is the called by the experts, I guess, if we want to call them experts. So yeah, Trump +5 at the moment in GA. What side are you using? I'm just using New York Times. It just seemed to be the best one with a ability to zoom in and actually click on each one of the states. And then if I was doing this properly, what I would be doing is looking at all of these areas and just comparing them to 2020 votes, so you can see whether the breakdowns are correct. So let's say Trump was winning this by 58% in 2020, and now he's winning it by 63, and you start to see that metric playing out here. Obviously, that's going to be incredibly strong towards an overall Trump victory in this state. When the stats say we start the bullish run post election, well, we already have. So, what the hell just happened then? No, I don't want to buy this paper. Out of here. There we go. Back to where we want to be. Not buying the paper. That's ridiculous. So let's have a look here at the poly market. How's that changing? It's kind of slightly changing. Oh no, it's gotten worse. So now it's Harris 26.3%. So obviously a huge shift. Trump in the victory path according to the poly market at this stage. And as we know, I've seen a few of these ones. I've seen things swing throughout the day pretty big. These are the Trump stocks. These are the Harris stocks. The question before, how are we seeing this swing already? Well, as I put in the start of today's video, we're already swinging up. Why? Because in all cases, it is bullish post-election, no matter what the configuration was. I shared the stat on that before. And remember, we came in with 2.3 to 1 put call ratio. So that means that we were at maximum fear in the markets. And that usually leads into this stat, which is basically a net kind of gain overall. So if we have a look here, there's the stat zoomed in. You asked me to zoom these in now, so I'll do that for you. And you can see here that we have the +2 week, +1 month, +2 month overall bullish. If we do get a sell though today in terms of replication later on in the session, I would expect something down in this area here, about 57.50, and then generally find bulls. Probably the most interesting component of the current live market is the way that the crypto is moving, specifically Ethereum, obviously trying to get up. Solana and Bitcoin much stronger on the charts. Let's just have a look at Sol again, because these are the ones that seem to be giving the best overall kind of moves here. And if we go to the Euro US dollar, we can see here that it's still defending the line. So this is where I expect buyers to come back in if they're going to try to go strong. Strong every currency versus the dollar. This is pretty much where the market is now really questioning what's going on. This is the key. PA is the most consequential. Yes. NC has been becoming more democratic, large influx of Dems and California folk. Yeah, certainly possible. Tom, would you be buying a big sell off in solar? Be a good move. Seems like a big sell off on anything is pointless. Solar is really a tough one because solar is probably one of the most democratic sectors of the market. I don't know that though. That's just my opinion. Maybe ask the chat. What do you guys think in the chat? What's the VIX at? The VIX is trading at around 20.5. Okay. What do we got now? 66, because this is pretty much now that, we just need to see these kind of numbers come in. Again, this doesn't make sense yet. Tom, what do you think of ETH/BTC mid to long term? I think that Well, yeah, I mean, we can put it on the charts. Let's have a look. So ETH/BTC is a good combo for you to use. You can see here Ethereum obviously losing a lot of ground to Bitcoin for quite some time. That's not unusual during these runs. So if we actually consider here, take a look here at November 2020 election. Now, I actually think Ethereum's cooked compared to Solana. I think Solana is the new Ethereum. Has been for a while, obviously. Got to kind of, but Ethereum will still bounce if the rest of the market is bouncing. Around here is where we had that election day. So remember, the thing with crypto was when we had the election back in 2020, and we've shared that chart before. Remember 2012, just after the election, Bitcoin went well. 2016, just after the election, Bitcoin went well. 2020, just after the election, Bitcoin went well. So overall, what did we see? Well, we saw a strength in crypto post election. And that's, of course, backing that September claim that we've talked about, which is September strong, October strong, which is so far true, November strong, which is so far true, and then December. But that's not a study for Ethereum. That's a study for Bitcoin. So do we like it down here? I don't mind it, but have we got a turn event for Ethereum versus Bitcoin yet? Well, I'm going to let the chat decide. What do you guys think? Do you think that looks like something you want to buy right now? Got a nice donation coming in here from Ben S, $10. Thanks for doing the show, Tom. I've been watching 2+ years now. Can you comment on GLP-1 stocks? Uh, NVO and LLY under Trump or Harris? And can you look at VKTX? Thank you for the donation, which is not on the market yet. That's probably going to be very difficult for me. Yes, green is a democratic thing. Yeah, I think Sol isn't solar good for silver? I would say yes, because I think it's used quite a lot in those things. No buy, you guys are smart. Have I been following the uranium plays? Yes, I have. We'll look at that in a moment. If you like me losing money, yes, no buy, find the support, find the support. Yeah, right. That's exactly correct. This is just a standard noob kind of move, unfortunately, and you either buy the dip, yeah? The problem is you might have bought the dip here. You might have bought the dip here. You might have bought the dip here. I mean, I wouldn't be doing anything until you find some support. And that's the key for technical analysis. You've got to always try to replicate the setup, yeah? So we need to replicate the setup, and therefore we need it to kind of do something like this. So at this stage, I would say Ethereum is still weaker than Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is stronger. Let's have a look at uranium for a second here, and then we'll do the donation. I don't know what this is, energy fuels. Someone just asked this. It's actually a pretty decent setup at this stage. Very nice level. Very nice level. Small though. But it's actually quite a nice thing. Would have liked it a bit higher, but not bad. Certainly a good level to see whether it finds buys. I must have had that sitting there from some other analysis. Let's have a look at uranium stocks. Good level of demand. Obviously, a 20 and a 50 moving average sitting there as dynamic support as well. I do like the structure around this level. Have I seen the buy come through? Not really, but again, the demand is in this zone. You always sell on green, buy on red. Oh, buy on red. No, not really. You buy when you get the V, yeah? So you don't buy the left-hand side of the V, you buy the right-hand side of the V. That's success. Buy the dip or buying red is bad. It's okay if you're buying quality stocks like a NVIDIA or an Apple or a Microsoft. Generally, they'll come back for you. But if you go and do that on a crap stock, you could be left holding the bags for a very, very long time. I'm sure we've all done it. Hands up, guys. We've done that quite a lot. All right, let's answer the question here. Um, and the question was from Ben says, "Hey, thanks, Tom. Let's have a look at these stocks. So NVO is Novo. I don't really know these particular stocks that well. Looks like a head and shoulders towards the downside. I've been watching 2 plus years. Thank you very much. What do I think about this under Trump or Harris? Well, I don't know if it's a pharmaceutical stock. I have no idea though. I would probably need to look at what are they selling? Does that make sense to a Trump victory or Harris victory? I would say there's no edge here yet. The level I'd be looking at is 120. So buy the V component more on this than the dip. There's not really great support on the left hand side. Now, if we have a look at LLY, which I believe has been pulling back, which it has, this is down to around the right level for it to find role reversal, previous support. It's not a bad level, you can see there, but still no buying pressure. So again, I would say here, we don't have a buy, we don't have a clear path at this point, and I don't have replication on that one, unfortunately. VKTX, remember, stick in your lane. If you don't have anything to gain off that or you don't have any edge, don't do it. That's why I don't bet on the elections, generally, because I don't usually have edge. Why would I? I instead follow the data stats, and the data stats say that over the next 3 months, the market is historically bullish, and dips need to be generally thought of as opportunities. And that's been always the way since I've traded elect. All right, VKTX, a Viking Therapeutics, back at a decent level of support. So decent demand there. Let's jump on over to the charts here. We've got 75. I don't, that's probably not refreshed because that doesn't even make sense. Okay, so we're 71.30 now. So it's moving up and down in terms of the poly markets, which I wouldn't trust. And then, of course, we have called states 120 to 99 now. And the needle is in the current favor, not that I know whether the needle's good or not, of a Trump victory, 279, 259. And Georgia is 52-47, guys. Texas is going to be won by Republicans. The only interesting thing there in Texas is probably going to be the Senate. Let's see how that's going. Okay, so Ted Cruz is coming out as we're getting more count. So I'm assuming the original count must have been coming in from some of the Democratic areas because, of course, that's now back within pretty much what the polls were saying. And the polls were obviously going with all red losing in this one. So we'll see how that plays. That's going to be one of the more interesting races there. Georgia 52-47, North Carolina 52-47, obviously both favoring Trump at this state. This is starting to dwindle a little bit, 36-64. So in Pennsylvania, so that's down a few. Was pretty similar, but I think again too early. This is probably going Democrat. It looks like again it's early days, only 10%, but I think that it was really playing in there. Ohio looking pretty strong for, of course, Republicans. My opinion is nothing, of course, because as you know, we're looking towards basically just what the market's doing. Hobo Zozo, $5. Tom, yesterday was negative gamma, but MM's decided to mess up. The puts today is being shifted one side gamma, less important than the open interest. Yeah, so you get negative gamma yesterday, but you got to remember we had a 2.3 to 1 put ratio open, and they did decide to buy out to get rid of the fear. You've got to probably ask yourself the question a lot of the time is who has a lot of these strikes? Are these strikes bought by retail traders fearing and trying to hedge their portfolio, or mum and dads, or family offices, or those types of things? And look, remember, overwhelmingly, a put is less likely to be tapped than a call. Okay. Overwhelmingly, that's statistics. So if you were to look at a put wall, you can always usually factor a put wall as a statistical stronger level than a call wall. So a call wall will generally get tapped and dumped, as in like we'll get a positive gamma flow effect during bullish market sentiment than you will with a put. Francis says, you and Drain Cleaning Australia. What is Drain Cleaning Australia? Are my favorite Aussie YouTubers. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be in the illustrious Drain Cleaning Australia favorite YouTubers. I assume that's a comedy channel. Trump's got Ohio. Looks like it. VA is still close. Oh, okay. I didn't click on that. Is this? Oh, VA here. Oh, okay. VA. Was this meant to go Democratic? Was this meant to lean Democratic? I don't actually know. I must admit I didn't think this was gonna be that close. Well, at least I wasn't told it was gonna be that close. Is this meant to be Democratic, guys? I don't know. Someone tell me in the chat. VA. So we've got here 120.99 currently called. Obviously, 69% Georgia vote currently in. Don't watch them if you're eating. I think I'll be right. Yeah, so just to remember with put walls, I call them put walls, but they are always stronger traditionally than a call level because a call level will be struck more. I may do a video on this in the moment. I just looked at pot stocks. Yeah, they won't be looking good if I think wasn't it Harris that had the overall pot everywhere kind of thing. So thank you, Bobo. But yeah, in this case, just remember it's always more the positive gamma side, at least in the current bull market, is more important to focus on. And I would say that a lot of those puts were owned by smaller people, and therefore they want to take the money. Bob the Builder, $5. Can you have a look at Clov? Has been super bullish, and also you talk about BTC from its timing perspective to someone who distrusts crypto. Why do you distrust crypto? You scared of crypto or um, Clover Health Investments? What is this? Also, this is a 2021 stock. Well, with trust or faith in crypto or stocks, just remember, just because you have faith, let's say in Nvidia, is Nvidia overpriced, chat? What do you think? Is Nvidia overpriced? If you were really looking at it, would you say it's cheap or is it expensive? I ask you that question. This is on a epic run at the moment, but it's just like any one of those 2021 stocks. They're all kind of going ballistic. This must have been a SPAC, I guess, maybe. And of course, once it dumped 10, it was just all over. So it's just really trying to get some power up. It is strong. If you're in the trend on the upside, I wouldn't be terrified of it. Would I buy? Not myself because I like being early in these, but I would certainly not say the trend looks bad. Even pullbacks at this stage down to this level would look strong. So it looks strong overall. Maybe he means your toilets flush backwards. Yeah. Pretty impressive, Tom. You in the drains. Yes. Tom, do you think do you stay up during the American market hours or how do you incorporate that into your life in Australia? It's a great question. I get asked this a lot. So it's actually quite simple. It is a bit more annoying from Australia. You've got to have trade systems that are based on alerts. Okay. So remember, my favorite trade system is position based trades. Okay. And they usually last anywhere between a few weeks into a couple of months. All right. And that's based on usually a few factors. Number one is TA, number two is data. I also look at statistical structure levels, and I look at, of course, options, yeah, as well. Options and large trades. So I use a lot of different systems behind this. And obviously, I've got lead indicators and everything else. But what that does is that allows me just to set alerts. If I'm not getting an alert, I'm not doing anything. Once I enter into one of those positions, I set a stop loss level, I set a take profit level, and I set a management level. Guess what? If I'm not getting an alert, getting any of those, I don't look at it. Also, from a trade perspective, you need systems where you always have a stop loss and a take profit and a management level so that you can sleep through the night. Most trades either are entered before the open or around the open, but you can actually kind of limit them in. And if you're looking at position based trades, you just need to look at the close. And now that we've got a market that goes past the close, guess what? I can enter them based on daily closes and weekly closes. So I don't really need to be there during the market. In fact, you could almost argue being around during the market is more dangerous because it gives you emotional highs and lows as the market moves, and you might do something stupid. We've all done this and look at the 1 minute, 30-second charts, 5 minute charts, and then close an order out. Anyone done that before? Yeah, I'm sure you have. So that's why you can do it. So how do I do it? I just do analysis, I set alerts, and I pull the trigger. But generally speaking, I like daily closes. VA was supposed to be Dem. Okay, so there we go. So let's go back over here. 53% of the count are currently Trump in, but it's still going likely Dem. I would assume this is because of the main cities, which again, I'm not going to comment on in terms of knowing what these are meant to be. But you can see here, obviously, these ones are all these country areas all going for Trump. But these ones would probably be behind the count. Like that doesn't look like many votes for that big particular city. Yeah. So I'm assuming that that's where that one's going to get up. It looks like Georgia's going to be lost by the Dems and won by Republicans. So that's becoming pretty clear, isn't it? What do you think, guys? Are we going to call Georgia? I'm not sure. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter because again, the stats don't matter. Okay, so we've got the smallest amount of votes ever coming in now from these two sides, and of the first 2,000 and 4,000, we've got Trump, but too early. And New Mexico, obviously, coming in now. So here we go. We're getting a lot coming in now. It's all happening. It's all happening, guys. So we can now lock this section off here, draw a little line. There we go. So we're getting all of these. Thank you from Germany. No worries. Appreciate that. Hey, Tom, thanks for all you do. Could you talk about uranium plays? Uranium plays are tough, so I'm just going the whole ETFs, all going those weird micro inverters, micro nuclear power things. They're pretty good. VA has been Democratic since 2008, previously Republican. Thank you very much, Dr. Horton. Appreciate that. Yes, overpriced. Now, this is in regards to the NVIDIA comment from before. So the reason I asked that was because you might say it's overpriced, yet you're still going to buy it at these prices and then pull it higher. Remember, if you're worried about crypto, which you could be because maybe the fair value for it is 20,000. I don't know what the fair value for Bitcoin really is. I think it will go higher. If you had to ask me, what do I think will it do over the next year? I think it'll crack 100, based on seasonality, based on the approach that we're looking at from the data side. However, don't go make a decision on that. Make your own decisions. Generally speaking, the reason I say this is because with NVIDIA, it is probably overpriced on long metrics, but we still buy it and people buy it blindly. And it may get even way more overpriced. In fact, it might go one standard deviation above. There we go. Texas locked in now by these guys. One standard deviation above the overall current price right now. Now, is that super overpriced? Yes, but people will still be buying it. Remember, the risk in this quality stock will therefore potentially be 50, 60, 70% downside. Right now, it's probably still sitting at 50, 60, 70% downside. I think that we're in a time now in trading and investing where at the end of large bull time cycles, you get markets that are overpriced. It's up to you, like by all consistent original metrics. You've still got to put that aside and say, am I willing to take the risk for now? And if I'm willing to take the risk for now, what does that mean in the future? Do I need to make a decision to, make my portfolio smaller or something like that and reduce it? Maybe you do. But you've just got to be aware that you're buying at an overpriced market. There's no doubt. We've already looked at it. 22 times forward PE gives an average return over a 10-year period of like almost negative percentage, like 2% to 3% on the S&P historically. So is it overpriced? Yes. Is it still going to go higher? I would say yes. And that's what you've kind of focus on. So we've got Texas locked in. So that's going to now put 177 to 99. Again, I would say everything is going the way you would expect it to today, except for this one is obviously not as close. Well, actually, the bet odds had this one as Georgia very strong Trump. And NC, I don't know. And this one, maybe it's closer than people expected. And this one coming in now for Republicans. So obviously getting up there now with the votes. Well, I don't know. I can't remember if it's 4 million or 5 million expected here. But 59.40. So starting to come in more as the vote is counted. And this one's still very far apart. So Michigan probably still the way we put it before. Again, all of this stuff, guys, just remember it won't make any difference to your overall action on the markets over the next 3 months because we know that in all scenarios, you generally would want to be bullish. Let's recap here. Crypto having a great day today. Very nice off the largest trade volume level. Love that level. Really like the structure on crypto. I think we're going to an all-time high. Even if the market does fall down and crack into a 63 for whatever reason, I think overall still very bullish. Data, stats, things playing well from the technical side. Make your own decisions, of course. Ethereum also showing a little bit of catch up here in terms of strength. Solana better than Ethereum. US 500 very strong, pushing that 58.30 at the moment, which is past the gap fill. Key level to look at in terms of the options is going to be 58.50. We know that we go positive gamma at that point. This was where the puts were. This is where the calls are now. 58.50 for the 6th, 58.50 for the 7th, 58.50 for the 15th. And you can see the next level is, guess what? 6,000. So if this market chooses to boost, 6K could be incoming. Yeah, I'm screwed on Oklo. Yeah, so Oklo, just for anyone that doesn't know, Oklo and the other one are both the micro reactors. I'm not sure how you're screwed on this because you shouldn't really be in the high. But this is a very quick move. Obviously, to me, I'm not a huge fan of seeing this type of action and this type of big bull. This tells me that it's going to be sideways for a little while, generally speaking. And with uranium stocks, I'm sticking to the ETFs mostly. SMCI I wouldn't buy yet. Can you discuss it, Tom? As NVIDIA is their largest client, I would like to buy the dip long term on this stock. Yeah, well, we looked at SMCI before. The key to SMCI is going to be the fact that it's sitting so low. So if we look here at the way it's kind of chilling, uh, yeah, so if we're looking at this action, basically what we've got here is a very, very tight kind of range. This is now starting to form a structure. Generally speaking, I would want it to kind of go above this little level here. And then that could kind of tell us that maybe there's an initial buy coming in. Um, the problem with this is you have to know your stats. You have to know how to play it. These are not traditional. They're buy the dips based on oversells. Remember, this is not the worst level. But remember, if that doesn't work, you can easily do this. And guess what? That's killing time. Is this a good demand level? Yes. Yes, it is. I notice the dollar's moving up here a little bit. So that's starting to favor, of course. This is all at res, by the way. So remember, if the dollar cracks this high, that's pointing towards tariffs, frankly, and maybe a Trump win. Donation coming in here from Lisa. Thank you very much, Lisa. Thanks for all you're doing for us. No worries. Thank you very much for you taking the time out of your day, whether you're from Europe, America, Canada, Australia, Asia, anywhere else around the world. I really appreciate you guys because this is a big day for a lot of people around the world. If Trump wins, do you think Tesla rips considering of all of Elon's support? You'd have to think so, Jonathan. Isn't he meant to be getting some cabinet position? I don't know, I don't know, some position of, I can't remember what it was called. Some kind of, uh, oh, I can't remember what it was called now. But anyway, basically, yes, you would have to think so. And obviously, the aftermarkets hours were already pushing that way with a 260 plus number. And that's Corwall. Likelihood of 56.20 on US 500 less now that we saw the structure break up to the up above this level here, 57.70. As I mentioned in the previous daily video, you know, the main key levels for me were 5,700 buy. When actually once the market did this, looks a lot stronger. GT40 says, Oakler guys, look at 1816. I've been in and out and getting paid divvies on investments while trading it. So because it took this high, that's a lot stronger. So remember the Dow thought process, taking the high, very strong, all pointing strong. The Russell's going ballistic, ballistic. I mean, could we be at 24.30 in click of a button? I've already been bullish on the Russell. As I mentioned, the Russell was just that very decent risk reward ratio. basically down here is your worst case, and up here is your best case. Well, initial best case. That's 2 to 1. Nothing wrong with that. Sparked interest, $20. Thank you very much, Spark. Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. Thank you for the $20. Yeah, all I can say is thank you. Tom, what do you expect on bonds on TLT, for example, after the election? I don't expect anything yet, but I am looking for us to see whether we can get more dark pools. So post election, Treasuries isn't going to run away from you in one day. So we're just going to watch, look for dark pools. We answered that question a little bit earlier. Watch dark pools, look for replication. Remember, trading and investing should be about doing the same thing. This election has a lot of people interested, rightfully so. But at the same time, it really isn't about your opinion. It's not about using the election as an excuse to get into trades. It's about understanding whether you have edge or not on certain positions. So, again, at the moment, the markets are already incredibly bullish, and that's the way it is here. Thank you again. It sparked interest. Did I answer that other question from Lisa? Yes, I did. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Department of Government Efficiency, Doge. Oh, that's right. That's what it was called. Cabinet, lol. Yes, you send him here or to England. Yeah, come on. I am Australian. I don't know your term for it. No worries, Maddox. Catch you later. Crypto ripping. Absolutely. Crypto's looking really good. But also, Elon would get all regulations in his favor. That's correct. That'd be a big win for Elon if Trump wins. That would be correct. Tom, sometimes trading and work can be stressful for people. Do you have any hobbies or interests you do for fun that help you unwind? Thanks for all your audience and interactions and everything. We appreciate. It's a good question. There's no doubt that trading is incredibly stressful, and it can be very stressful if you don't have clear purpose and know what you're doing. How do you unwind? Well, I mean, for me, I'll just say like I like fishing, so I often go fishing. I don't think about trading and don't even know what's going on with trading when I'm fishing, so that's pretty cool. I think honestly, meditation can be incredibly helpful to giving you clarity. So I try doing that a little bit nowadays. In terms of other hobbies, I mean, obviously, I have quite a lot of different hobbies, but I would say in terms of what helps you from swimming, technically, if you do exercise, that's the best because it gives you that dopamine hit, which is very strong for giving you clarity and proven. I probably could be better on that at the moment. I'll be real. It's election season, and just in general, the YouTube is not really conducive to that. But I need to do that. So you can go here. Fishing is very good, or any of these types of meditation types things. They get you clarity. I would say the best overall though is exercise of any kind. Generally, running, swimming, gym, whatever. It's all very good, very very good. And then of course, realistically, you probably want to get as much sleep as you can do, and that's something that in Australia is hard. Tom, you mentioned earlier this week you might get a liquidity grab gap fill. Do you still see this playing out this week? Was looking for a good long from that level. Unfortunately, I don't think so. So yeah, my play was, or like my play was to basically scale in at 5,700 and buy the Russell, which I've talked about. Then after that would be, I wanted that 5620 gap fill, so that of course we could then get that liquidity steal. That doesn't seem to be playing at this time, and based on the structure on the smaller time frames, it really went long into the close of the day. So really, the market was buying the end of the day, and the futures continued to do that. It doesn't mean though it won't pull back and gap fill the gap that it's now making, and then do something like this. So I think that's a distinct possibility. Remember, we only expected 4% maybe as a sell as the best stat for the sell, and maybe it's all we get is three. Remember, you're talking about 1% stats. If you're trying to thread it too much, then you really need to start scaling your positions. High intensity, low impact interval training works as well. That's correct. Key here is low impact. I totally agree. I think like 20, what's it, 20 minutes or 30 minutes is the best. Aussie as well, mate. I have no idea what their system is. Great work, by the way. Thanks, GT. Turnaround Tuesday? Yeah, that's right. I've had a long S&P since Friday. Good work, Dow Jones, Dave. Technically a good level if you were looking at that. He chills at the billabongs. Yeah. Salt water, generally. But I don't really care. I'll do anything. You should totally make a fishing channel. It'd just be me screaming. It'd just be me getting crazy with a lot of people and then getting wild. I do tend to I go a lot of snapper fishing, so I get pretty wild. And I know with snapper fishing, it's 20 minutes. You got 20 minutes to 30 minutes, and you got to make it happen. So there's usually a lot of throwing stuff around and excitement. But hey, get your mind off these types of things in terms of markets. Generally, with the market, all you need to think about is, do you have clarity of the situation? I would like to think that I have clarity right now on my gold. Obviously, I've got clarity on crypto crap at the moment because I'm liking it. I just love calling it that. Because there's why I do it. It's not because Bitcoin's crap. It's because there are so many crap coins, and I don't like the crap coins. So crypto's, obviously taken my fancy in recent months, which a lot of people have probably paid attention to. Sometimes I like China. I'm starting to like China again, obviously, and we'll see how it goes. That's probably the only one I'm going to do post election. And yeah, realistically, it's pretty good. So you've got clarity due to your understanding. If you ever want to know more about this, I mean, I did make a course on it. So the advanced masterclass that I do sell, but you know why? Because it's damn good. You know why it's damn good? Because I put a lot of effort into finding these things that give you edge. A bit different to the YouTube channel. Let's just say that. Obviously, YouTube, we talk about data and stats, but this is the ones that give you edge. So if you're ever interested, I'd highly suggest you check that out. Uh, hey Tom, how do you train your mind to buy fear? Uh, Everyone says it fear, but hardly any people can do it. Advice for beginners, thought process. Yeah, so that's true, and I think that was exemplified when we did that August stream. Anyone remember? We had like 75,000 people watching the stream. It was incredible, and I just said to you guys, does this particular bit of news actually make sense for a crash? You've got to have clarity of the situation. So the markets don't sell off for no reason. There's always a good reason, and it's always very credible. The the question is, do you understand what actually crashes an economy? Again, it's in my advanced course. I go through it specifically. I won't give it away for free. And there's no way. I spent way too much time on it. So it's about gaining a clarity. Look at this. Bitcoin's maybe going to make a new all-time high here today. It's about gaining clarity based on, of course, an understanding of cycles, an understanding of the way that markets work, the understanding of the political system and how all the parties stuff it up. And once you have that, then you can really say, is this sell-off the one? Because remember, every time there's a sell-off, you've got Michael Burry and everybody else coming out, and they'll all say, "Oh, crash, 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 crash." You'll go on YouTube, everyone's making crash videos. You go on X, everyone's freaking out, and you see the most imprinted. Everybody hates, uh, everybody loves fear. So fear sells, and theoretically, you're going to get all these charts that'll be like really scary, and it will be plausible. But in August, I said the US, the Japanese central bank is not going to go bust. You know why? Because all they did was they put up an interest rate and the market had an absolute freak attack. They could reverse that instantly like this. So really it wasn't the example. Now you might say that's simplification of the problem. It's not the thing I'm looking for an epic crash. So how do you get better? Well, you've got to understand and gain clarity and confidence in that particular thing. And that only comes from having true edge. And, I believe I've got true edge for about 10 more years, maybe 15, maybe even 20. But I'll be realistic. Like any trader or an investor, we all have an expiry time. And my expiry time will come, just like it will come for everybody. Like Druckenmiller, his expiry time has happened. He knew that too. That's why he pulled his fund. Course is mint, I can confirm. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I didn't sell in August at least, but I was too scared to buy. Of course, because it's the look, where's my saying? If it's in the press, it's in the price, guys. Ricky, Canadian $5. Thank you very much, Ricky. Appreciate that. BTC going absolutely mad. Yep. I can't say I'm sad about it. Go, baby, go. Ricky Canadian, $5. Thank you very much. BTC Boom, absolutely. I remember that stream. Great stuff. Yep, Mitch. And you've been doing great recently. Yeah. Been doing a lot better consistently. Maybe just let the chat know because obviously you've done stuff. Alan says here the classes have changed it. It's changed my trading for the better and bought me peace of mind. That's pretty much the most important thing. And Austin says, yes, I remember that. MK says reading material. Yep, this could be something. I've heard this is pretty good. Yeah, basically this book seems pretty good. Jonathan Robinson, $5. Thank you for all the time and effort you put into this channel. The knowledge I've left gained from the daily videos is much appreciated. Thank you for the $5. I do appreciate that. Thanks, guys. All right. My edge is I listened to Tom Daly. It's been a pretty good 2024. I can say that. US dollar going ballistic. See, it's starting to get up there. It's definitely past my res, so I'm broke even on this trade now, unfortunately. Well, yeah, I probably lost a little bit actually, but anyway, is what it is. Obviously, much more bags on the longs. So, what does that mean? Does that mean that we've got Republicans dominating? Let's have a look here. 178. It's probably again to be expected. Let's have a look where we've got here. So, leaning Republican, I agree. Likely Democrat for this one. Okay, so still two up. Obviously, cities are going to be the main breakdown. And then we've got Georgia here, 77. So, that is likely going to Republicans now. NC, that's interesting, 51.48. So again, it's quite a lot of count. 55 done now. 51.48. It's going to take a fair bit to pull this around, you would have to think, but maybe that's too close still. This is pretty close. This has come right in, which we have to expect. This is very strong, but it's only 3% up. That's also pretty strong, you would have to think. So it's almost exactly what we thought so far. Probably Dem. Who the hell knows? Nothing really like too amazing here. This would be Republican, you'd have to think. And I guess Republican. We're starting to get to the point where that's probably going close, and VA is maybe question mark at this point. Look at Bitcoin, it's shooting up. Absolutely, it is. Let's have a look at the poly market. Let's refresh. The poly market going crazy. 79 to 21. Wow. I don't understand that really that much. I mean, is there something I'm missing here? As in, I understand that those NC and Georgia and stuff, there must be a stat that I don't see because I would expect this to still be closer than it is. Because, of course, PA, Wisconsin, and Michigan are going to be the clinchers either way. Markets obviously going absolutely ballistic from crypto. And this is good. I'm pretty happy with this. So very nice there. Markets themselves boosting. I think that they're definitely pricing in, regardless of president outcome, you're pricing in probably a Republican Senate. So that's, I think, the most bullish stat overall. I've been beating the market since signing up as a beginner. Yep, I know you have, Mitch. So thank you very much for sharing that. Appreciate it. Voting is split between the cities and rural time, and the cities are much slower to report. Yes, that's correct. Look at Bitcoin, it's shooting up. Yep, I'm loving Bitcoin. It's good. Tinfoil hat, it's big in the no money making bets something. Yep, Tesla 266 in post, according to I didn't actually see that it's 266 now, but yep. 10-year rate climbing, currently 4.4. Well, that's going to be strong for the dollar. So the dollar's about to take a high, I think. So this is a very interesting flow kind of move. This is yeah, wow. Look at this though. Look at the Russell. Yeah, up. Do you have targets on Bitcoin and Sol, Tom? Don't have a target on Sol because I'm just going to use Bitcoin like I do with S&P. But BTC, I'm going to go with like 120 plus. What do you think of the Fed will do this week? I think they'll cut 25 basis points. CNN reaction if Trump wins. Is it CNN that would go crazy or is it MS? I don't know. I don't know which one it is. Is it MSN? NVBC or something. Can you send me a discount code for my birthday this month? Tom says Willie. Look, we've got a sale on if you're interested. It's pretty cheap. You can definitely check it out. Message me on Discord if you have any questions. I noticed both Trump and Kamala have PLTR in their portfolios today, and it shot up 23.47%. What do you think? Is it overpriced or worth looking at? I would say it's up above price at the moment. It's on a run. So I wouldn't personally, if you're holding it, I wouldn't be terrified, but I don't think it's worthy of a new entry. MSNBC is very dim. Yeah, that's what I thought was the dim channel. In Australia, we have Sky News. Anyone know Sky News? Sky News is our version of Fox, I would assume. And then you've got the rest of them, which would be just like your CNNs and your other things. I don't know if we have like a maybe we do. I don't even know what it is. Do we have like a MSNBC? Maybe someone in Australia knows. I don't watch the news. I don't know. Why would I watch the news? If it's in the press, it's in the price. It'll blind my mind. Hmm. So crypto is good today, guys. But this Russell is impressive. I'm very happy with this Russell. I have heard of Sky News. They're a little bit hardcore. Yeah, they're crazy. They're like they get in. They've got all sorts of people on that one. People love Americans love Sky News. Many Americans love Sky News. In fact, I'd say three-quarters of the channel is actually American watchers. Hey, Tom, just joining in. What a move on BTC. Very interesting. That and US 2K. Absolutely. I mean, we've got yields up. We've got KRE, no doubt, spiking big. As I prepped for the start of this channel, start of today's stream, I want to mention KRE was the best 1 month return. And, to be honest, the market's smashing this one. It's going to be a wild open on it. Look, in many ways, I mean, some of you guys were obviously probably looking for 56.20, but things did certainly switch towards the upside after. As I've said, the Russell and Bitcoin, I think I made it pretty clear. I don't care whether it was going to dip or not. I'm bullish. Why? The data suggests so. Why? Any outcome here is bullish. Tesla is now 268. Yeah, Tesla will be positive gamma squeeze if it does go the Trump way. Australian press is dumbed down a lot with the relevant stories dissociated from the real world. People are mushrooms and then they feed on it. I wouldn't know. Just going to echo the Tesla sentiments as Phil. Nice moves. Yep. Love your work, Tom. Thank you very much. So Elon bought the election. I don't know. We'll see. Let's refresh one more time over here and have a quick look. I'm going to refresh it because I don't trust it's up to date. Okay, so we've got 178 to 99. We have Trump 1.5 up on VA. Obviously, very, very tight here. Georgia, I would say, is lost to the Dems. So Republicans, I'm going to lock that in. Why not? Even though I know the cities come later. Wait, let me click on a little thing that we had from before. Oh, it's still the exact same. Okay. Well, anyway, let's not call anything. Okay, I'm a dumbass. We don't know what's going on here. That's actually fairly close, isn't it? Michigan, pretty not close, but why is that stopped? Shouldn't this be higher already? 13% seems quite slow. I would have thought this would be higher. This one came in later, so I don't. They're efficient over here. Efficient people. Efficiency, non-efficiency. PA 31% coming right in now. So 53.47. That was like 60 something, whatever. So that's obviously coming in. VA still pretty strong, but obviously the cities and yeah, let's look. It's still early, guys. As you know, things change. I don't know that as much as you guys in America do. Um, but again, I want to reiterate here. What's going on here? I want to reiterate that remember, regardless of outcome, I shared the stats at the beginning. Go back to the start of this live stream, and you will see if anyone wins, it's generally bullish. We've got this. We've got the ridiculous amount of puts. So here are the puts, and we know that was max fear. and obviously it's going towards the long side. And we can see here that when we tend to have this type of put VIX structure, we usually end up in a positive 6-month outcome, which makes sense to the November to April stat. Okay. So if you miss stuff, don't chase, don't go crazy about anything. There's still a really decent chance that the S&P pulls back and allows entry in the actual real market. Because remember, I want to ask the chat this. You guys know this. What happens from here to here? What are we going to have happen when we open up? By the way, 58.50 just got hit, which is obviously the call wall. So that's right on the call wall. What happens at 58.50? Phoenix Explorer says election is still not over. That is correct. If Trump does take Georgia and NC, correct, and obviously VA goes to um, the Dems, he would still need to take either PA, Michigan, or Wisconsin. Absolutely. Otherwise, he'd need VA or NM. Okay. Do you chase Bitcoin now? Well, Bitcoin could be a little bit of a difference. Yeah, Bitcoin's a big deal because it's a 24/7 market. So that's right, gap. That's right, guys. So you're going to have a gap from whatever it is. And that seems to be the more likely scenario right now. Hit the call wall, push down a little bit. We'll see what the outcome is, and then rally up based on stats. But I've got to say, if you bought near the daily close or into the daily close, which a few people did say they were doing, or even bought 5,700, you're obviously sitting there thinking this is pretty damn good. Bond yields moving up pretty strongly. Absolutely. We'll reassess this as we know more. I would say this may take a while, guys, because we're not getting it's so tight. You can see like I mean, this is quite tight stuff. I mean, this is tight. It's still tight, yeah. That's tight. That's tight. That's tight. Well, that's not that tight, but this is tight. I don't actually know. We'll have to get more numbers though, so we don't really know. And of course, this one down here is probably not tight anymore, but we don't know. And I would always caution people against trading and investing based on their emotions. Instead, focus on the data history. We were bullish into crypto before we know the outcome. So therefore, if we know the outcome, should we still relatively be bullish? I would say yes. Were we bullish on the Russell? Yes. Again, regardless of people's opinions, remember the stats I shared at the start. Make your own decisions. Don't be the lemming of the news. And that doesn't mean that I'm either way here in terms of who I want to win. I just think that in trading and investing, you have to eliminate the noise. So remember this to finish up today, guys. If it's in the press, it's in the price. Patience, react, don't predict. We saw a strong movement here in the markets early. There was replication based on my day trade setups. Obviously, that is skiing absolutely going wild right now. But that doesn't mean there won't be a little pullback into it. If there isn't, don't worry. Move on to the next one. There'll be single stocks. There'll be other things to go with. So, yeah, we can clearly see some big moves here in the market. Watch the US dollar as well. That just made an all-time high. So this is going to be a very, very interesting day. I would say this is now going to take hours and hours and hours. And frankly, I don't think I've got time to sit here for 4 hours with you guys, or 5 hours, or maybe even 24 hours until we know exactly what's happening. But it's irrelevant to the trading and investment decisions that you're making on most asset classes. Now, of course, DJT, Tesla, solar, they may all be consequential. Those ones can move. What are your thoughts on gold, US dollar? Nothing much yet. I'm just going to leave it. It's just sitting there. It's doing nothing. My brain hurts just to think about. Oh yeah, well that's true. I mean, if you actually asked me what would be probably better for my channel, I mean, if you think about it, I guess technically, if there was more instability, then it would be better. But I again, who knows? It doesn't really matter. Again, we just follow the data, we follow the stats, and we go with not our gut reactions. Instead, we go with what we know to be replicable. And remember, the worse something feels, the better it often is. Put your mindset into how other people feel. Gap up tomorrow. Yes, it looks likely we're going to gap up and then probably pull back. BTC targets depends on time frame. I mean, obviously, this BTC should be bullish ultimately into next year, October, November, you've got to think at this stage. US market is closed. That's right. What do you see SoFi doing in your end? At the moment, I put that on the charts before. It looked kind of strong still. If you had to give me what's my BTC ultimate move, probably about 120. Catch you next time. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for coming out today. I hope you enjoyed the stream and I didn't offend anyone or anything like that. But anyway, the election will soon be over, guys. We've got the votes in the count, and now we have to trust the system. Bye for now, everybody. You have a fantastic day. Well done for participating in democracy. If you did vote in the US, I think that's really important. And to me, anyway, I'm a big fan of. I know some people may not be a big fan of democracy, but I am. I think that democracy. I always want to leave you with this: democracy allows wise women and wise men to have a say in society, and as they have a say, democracies are self-adjusting. I think that was something that really brought me a lot of I guess you would say a lot of confidence in the way that democracies work ultimately. I mean, of course, it's a system you may or may not agree with. Nothing's perfect, but I always like the idea that self-adjustment can be had throughout it. So have a great day. We'll catch you for now. Bye, everybody. See ya.